Should we talk some movie trailers that we saw quickly?
Yeah, we can do that. That was certainly on my list as well, particularly the Cliff Booth teaser that we got, which was a bit of a surprise, at least to me. I was not
I
anticipating that. I don't know if
I
you had heard anything
I
beforehand.
had no idea that that was coming, and when I
Yeah.
saw it playing, I thought, "Is this just some type of like product teaser using this as like a springboard for the trailer that'll be coming in like a week's time or something like that?" But no, it was the actual trailer. I think the surprise element is why it really worked. I will admit I didn't really love the trailer all that much, but I love the fact that I had no idea it was coming. I like
Yeah.
the just the mic drop of it all is what I appreciated
Yeah.
more than the actual trailer itself. I
Yeah.
have some reservations about what we actually saw. I admit I wasn't really vibing with it, but I was also just so caught off guard by not expecting it that was what I really appreciated, which we don't
Yeah.
like so much so often now when it comes to how we anticipate movies. There's always so much that is given away. There's no
Mhm.
surprise anymore. Like there's no moment where you go into a theater and you see a trailer for the first time for a movie that you had no idea was even coming out. Like that,
Yeah.
those days are gone. And in a
Yeah.
way, this trailer kind of took me back to that kind of feeling,
Yeah.
which I appreciated just the overall like marketing
Mm.
agenda of it.
I agree. Aside from the film aspect of it all,
Mhm.
just as a Super Bowl commercial, it was really fun because
Yeah.
so many of these drop early
Yeah.
that it's not a surprise when they show up on TV, and you don't have that. Oh my God, it's the Super Bowl commercials. We have to pay attention. Like
Mhm.
that feels like a bygone era at this point. And we're
Mhm.
not even that far removed. 10 years ago, it felt like that was still part of the zeitgeist, but
Yeah.
now half of them are either uninteresting or two, we've seen them already and
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
really have much of a pull. And as a lot of people have pointed out, much of the content we're getting is also quite unstimulating.
Mhm.
Maybe I can say nicely. Like there's
Mhm.
just, it's a lot of,
It's
you
it's a
know,
lot it's a lot of slop.
it's a lot of slop.
Yeah.
When you talk about AI or, gambling and all this crap.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the Ring ad. Oh my God, I've really loved the discourse because collectively, as an entire country, we all had the same thought when we saw that, and we immediately went to the Dark Knight. All of us,
I
all
know. I know.
400 million Americans had the same thought at the same time.
They did. Yeah. I was included. I was
Unbelievable.
included in that.
Yeah, absolutely wild. That's the reality we're gonna live in now. I just
Just
Another
there's no
point to
suspense.
Nolan, I
No
guess.
suspense anymore.
God.
That's why I respect
Uh,
Nolan for not,
yeah.
Christopher Nolan just not. He wants to preserve the theatrical experience. That also includes you only get to see the marketing for his movie by going to see a movie in the theaters.
Yeah.
I miss that, and that's what I
Mhm.
appreciated about this Cliff Booth trailer is that none of us had any idea that it was even coming. We had some inklings as to what movie trailers we would be getting. Like I think we all knew we were going to get a new look at Disclosure Day, the Steven Spielberg
Yeah.
film. But I don't think anyone knew we were going to get a trailer for Cliff Booth to the point that I was talking to my in-laws earlier today. My father-in-law especially, he loves the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He didn't even know they were making a sequel or prequel to
Yeah.
it. Like, he had no idea. And
Yeah.
when he saw that, he was genuinely thrilled. And I love that some people maybe had that experience.
Mhm. And I have to commend Netflix as well
Yeah.
because they could have saved that for Netflix and their own
Mhm.
platform,
Yeah.
but they didn't. They played that during the Super Bowl as a surprise. And it just feels very unlike Netflix in terms of their typical behavior.
Um,
And
was Netflix also are they also the ones that dropped the Cloverfield paradox right after the Super Bowl? So
that, you know what? Yeah, that's a good point. I
yes.
completely forgot about that.
I have a hunch that this Cliff Booth movie will not be that bad,
Yeah.
but at least it goes to show that sometimes
Yeah.
Netflix
Sometimes they can be
is
clever
sometimes
with
they
it.
can surprise us.
Yeah, they can surprise us. Yeah, I mean, commend them for saving that as a surprise
Mhm.
during the actual game. And as for the trailer itself, I equally have some reservations, but I think I'm
Mhm.
more excited than anything. Maybe
Okay.
because I love Tarantino, I love Fincher, and that footage very much feels like a concoction. I saw someone compare it to Spielberg's AI and how that film, you can send Spielberg and Kubrick fusing in a way with that
Hmm.
film. And this trailer, I think, is very much akin to that in the sense that it feels like Tarantino, but it looks like Fincher. It's got that
Yeah.
digital
Well,
cinematography that Fincher,
yeah.
that's what he does now, but it also feels Tarantino, and I sense the fusion 100%.
I do too. I do too.
Now some of that, again, I don't, maybe reservations is the wrong word. I don't know. There are a few
Mhm.
things I'm curious about. Maybe I'll phrase it that way, but again, I think I'm more excited than not based off
Yeah,
of what I saw there.
the digital aspect of it that Fincher is known for is probably the thing that's giving me the most pause about it, and I feel like that's hypocritical of me to say because Fincher always works in the digital realm, at least he does nowadays, and has also made period pieces using digital photography like Zodiac and
Yeah.
Mank, for instance, and those movies look amazing. So I shouldn't doubt him in that regard. But there's something about the way that the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood being shot on film and how 60s that it looked like that is almost like part
Mm.
of it almost feels like it's a character in the movie. So when I saw this trailer and the digital look that Fincher tends to bring to his respective movies, something about it felt a little too contemporary to me. And maybe that's just because we haven't seen enough of the footage in real time to know how it's going to be conveyed in the actual movie. But that was
Hmm.
probably the one thing that gave me a little bit of worry, where I felt like something was a bit too modernized for something that in this world is designed to look like a very grainy form of film stock. And I
Mm.
I guess that's the one reservation I have, but, knowing how Fincher operates, I'm probably going to love it in the final product. I just didn't
Yeah.
quite see it yet.
I mean, I can understand that reservation for sure. I don't necessarily share that specifically, mostly because Fincher has won me over when it comes to his digital photography.
Same here, yeah.
And I have no doubt that the film is going to look great despite that digital fusion that he's going to bring to it,
Yeah.
despite the timeline. Really, most of my reservations come back to what is this going to look like for one, and what I mean by that is like the
Like,
film
story-wise.
narratively, storytelling wise,
Yeah,
not
yeah, that's a great
visually.
question. I
And
hear.
and and
Oh,
some
go
of
ahead, sorry.
the makeup hair work looked a little wonky to me.
Oh, it did. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah,
It did look a little cheap. Um, from what I've heard, there's a lot that this movie is going to show us that is in the novelization of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that Quentin Tarantino
gotcha.
also wrote, which I do own a copy of, but I haven't read it yet. But I've heard that the book and some of the extra stuff involving Cliff Booth is actually very compelling.
Gotcha. Okay.
If that's the case, then that's at least, hopeful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and again, that's where I go back to the fusion of it all because I do
Hmm.
really like Tarantino as a
Hmm.
filmmaker. I have no doubt that what he wrote was great and
Yeah.
that it is compelling. And if it's something that he decided to shoot himself, I probably would have loved it. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was easily one of my favorite movies of its year. Deeply
That's
loved it a lot.
top three Tarantino for me.
And I'm probably there as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a great subversion for Tarantino in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
And I deeply, deeply love it. And now we're adding Fincher to the mix, and it's just such an interesting concoction. and
It is. It is.
and
Yeah.
maybe it won't all work, but I think it's going to be interesting as a filmmaking exercise that like that alone will be enough for me, probably.
Probably, yeah.
I'm curious. I
Just the
can't wait
idea that
to
it
read that.
exists, that these
Yeah.
is maybe this is the closest we'll ever get to like an Avengers like directing lineup for a movie is that
Yeah.
someone has to write something, the other one has to direct it.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
You know?
maybe we'll get a few more of those the way things are going. Who
If the
knows?
movie's huge and it's also really good and people respond to it, we might get more of those.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of great filmmakers out there, writers and directors alike, where some of them I don't want to say they're better writers than directors, but maybe they're more known for their writing versus
Yeah.
their directing.
Hmm.
And I think Quentin Tarantino is arguably known for both, but his dialogue
Yeah.
is something that always sets him apart.
Yeah.
I can think of someone like a Paul Thomas Anderson, for instance, maybe writing the script for someone like a David Fincher at some point. Like I could see that
Sure.
kind of thing happening if this movie takes off.
Yeah. And even though they had already worked together,
Hmm.
to see Danny Boyle and Alex Garland get back together, especially
Yeah.
after Garland had gained so much notoriety as a filmmaker himself,
Hmm.
and them collaborating once again. And maybe that's part of why 28 years later looked and felt and emoted the way that it did, because you had
Hmm.
two collaborators with Alex Garland knowing much more of what the filmmaking side is like, that as a writer, he was able to tailor his sensibilities to Boyle
Yeah.
in a more sophisticated way, which I deeply admire. And that's why I think it's one of
Yeah.
the best films of the decade so far.
I kind of feel like Alex Garland's going to direct that third 28 Years Later movie.
He might. Yeah,
Yeah. I have a
he
hunch.
could. Well, see, I just hope that we get it. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think we
Fingers
are. I
crossed.
think I thought I remember hearing confirmation after the Bone Temple had its early press screenings that it was getting really
Yeah.
positive buzz. They announced the third one was officially coming.
Yeah.
But of course, that could always change pending box office results.
Well, yeah, you are right. I do remember that news that they were
Mhm.
going to move forward because that initial response was so great. But
Mhm.
after the Bone Temple bombed, it would not surprise me if they have major pause on that now. But we'll see. I mean, you
Be a
have
bummer.
Cillian Murphy coming back to star in this next one. That's going to get producers excited, financiers excited.
Yeah.
And if not Garland, maybe you bring in a quote unquote big name as a director to collaborate with Garland.
Spielberg.
So yeah, Spielberg comes back.